Should I be moving to Lisbon or to Porto? Which of these two cities is best for me? This is probably a typical question that you're having if you're thinking of moving to Portugal. In this video, we'll be analyzing 8 different factors that you can consider to see whether Lisbon is better than Porto or vice versa. Hi guys, this is Mariano and welcome to my channel. If you're someone looking to move to Portugal and want to enjoy big city lifestyle with its amenities, there's no other place to look than the greater Lisbon or Porto areas. Don't get me wrong, there are wonderful smaller cities such as Braga, Aveiro or Coimbra, where you're likely to find everything you need for your day-to-day. But for someone looking for a big city life, they could be a little too small. To give you an idea, the Lisbon metropolitan area has around 3 million inhabitants, while the Porto metropolitan area has around 1.3 million. In comparison, the third largest city, Braga, has less than 200,000. Some US people would say that Lisbon is kind of like Los Angeles, while Porto is more like Seattle. People in Australia, on the other hand, would say like Lisbon is more like Sydney and Porto like Melbourne. Both cities offer an amazing lifestyles with plenty of great neighborhoods to live in. Let's start talking about the 8 different categories. Number 1, the cost of living. Both Lisbon and Porto are definitely the pricier options to live in Portugal, but between them, there is a slight difference. According to the site Idealista, to buy a property in Lisbon, you will be paying an average of 5,351 euros per square meter, while in Porto, this goes down to 3,413 euros per square meter. To rent an apartment, a 1-bedroom in Lisbon would cost you around 1,200 euros per month, and in Porto, 850 euros. To rent a 2-bedroom in Lisbon, you would be paying around 1,500 euros, and in Porto, 1,200 euros. As you could see, Porto is the more affordable of the two, and it's also worth mentioning that Porto seems to offer much more brand new constructions when compared to Lisbon, so maybe the quality of the place that you live may be higher. Talking about other costs, I would say that restaurant prices are quite the same, but Porto still remains around 10% cheaper. In terms of utilities, supermarkets, or other costs, I would say both cities are equal. For all of these reasons, Porto wins this category. Moving on to number 2, the beauty and architecture. This one is pretty tough, as I would say both cities excel in both areas. However, I would point that Lisbon, because of its many breathtaking views in its miradouros, its grand monuments, and lovely beaches, would win in terms of beauty. However, I have to say that the architecture in Porto seemed to me quite stunning, especially in the areas around the Ribeira, Boleao, and around the Avenida dos Chiliaros. For that reason, I would say Porto wins architecture, which means that the second category ends in a tie. Another important thing to consider when moving to a country is the weather. You should know that both Lisbon and Porto have a mild weather without extreme climate conditions, but Porto is slightly rainier and colder than Lisbon. In Porto, you can expect winter temperatures to go between 6 and 15 degrees Celsius, and summer temperatures ranging between 16 to 27 degrees. In Lisbon, winter temperatures range between 10 and 18 degrees Celsius, and summer temperatures range between 18 to 30 degrees Celsius. Although some people prefer the colder weather, I would say that most people will claim that Lisbon has a better weather than Porto. That's why Lisbon wins this category. Moving on to the next category, the nature. Porto offers wonderful green spaces such as the Jardins do Palácio do Cristal, the Parque da Cidade, and all the wonderful parks along the coast in neighborhoods such as Foz do Douro. Nonetheless, Lisbon nails this category without a doubt for its many green spaces such as the Parque Eduardo VII, the Parque Florestal do Monsanto, the Praça do Império, the Praça da Alegria, the Jardim do Príncipe Real, and many more. Also, both cities offer great beaches within an easy reach, although I would say that Lisbon has slightly more variety. Another point in favor of Lisbon is that if you have kids, here you will find plenty of playgrounds that basically can be found in each and every neighborhood. One more thing that I noticed is that there's much more tree-lane streets and flowers present in Lisbon streets when compared to Porto. For these reasons, this category goes to Lisbon. Another point that impacts everyone's day-to-day is certainly the transportation. Both cities offer great public transport systems with well-connected metro lines, trains, trams, and bus networks. Now, although it's true that Lisbon has slightly more lines and also a ferry system, it's worth mentioning that because of its size, it's very impressive that Porto has such a great transport system, especially when you think that Porto is a city 3 times smaller than Lisbon. A good thing of its lower population is that I would say that traffic in Porto is much better than in Lisbon. Both cities have access to the high-speed train network that connects all Portugal and also have international airports that will connect you to the rest of Europe. Because both cities excel this category, this ends up in a tie. Getting on the number 6, we'll be talking about the shopping. Both cities have all the main high street brands such as Zara, H&M or Primark, as well as many Portuguese designer stores and malls. Both Lisbon and Porto have its own venue of El Corte Inglés department store, although I have to say that Lisbon version is slightly bigger. Now, in terms of luxury shopping, Lisbon is the clear winner as it hosts the bigger fashion houses such as Louis Vuitton, Hermes or Prada, which are not yet present in Porto. In terms of electronics, both cities offer a good variety of stores with the same price ranges. Because of its advantage for luxury shops, Lisbon wins this category. On to the number 7, the culture and the vibe. Although I have to say that I love the vibe of Lisbon, it's true that because of its international and multicultural scene, some of its uniqueness has been diluted away when compared to Porto. In line with this, I would say that despite the tourism, Porto still feels more authentic as it keeps its Portuguese roots closer to you when you visit the city. Because of that, I would say Porto wins this category. Lastly, let's talk about the economy and the opportunities that each city provides. If you're someone looking for a job position, both cities have many job openings, with Porto having many industries in its greater area and Lisbon being the headquarters of many international corporations. In terms of entrepreneurship, both Lisbon and Porto have much foreign investment and they have many business incubators, so they're both a great option to open your local business venture. Because there's no clear winner on this category, I'd say this ends up in a tie. Taking into account all different categories, Lisbon wins by a margin of just one category, but as you could see, many of the points ended up in a tie. My suggestion is that you visit both cities and get to your own conclusion, as your personal situation and also the vibe you get when you visit Lisbon or Porto may affect you differently. If you like this video, make sure to like, subscribe and make a comment, let me know your thoughts. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.